Hi there. So I've been asked to do a tutorial on how to add text to an image. This is useful if you're making slates for podcast graphics or things like this. I'm going to try and show you using a variety of different tools and across different platforms. Right now we're on the Windows machine. I'll show you how to add text to an image using Gimp and Photoshop. First up, let's talk about Gimp. Gimp is the GNU image manipulation program. You can get it from here. If you go to the website, click on the downloads button. Just give us a second to load the image up. You'll be able to download it for a variety of different platforms, for Windows, and if you click on here for other downloads, it will show you get installers for a variety of different Linux and Unix-like systems, so Ubuntu, Fedora, Solaris, and down the bottom here Mac OS X. There's a DMG installer, and there's also ways you can do it using MacPort's Homebrew or Think. So you can download it, install it. It's free, it's open source, it's legal to use. This is not like a hooky piece of software. This is a straightforward piece of software, and when you download it and run it, this is what you get. Those of you familiar with Photoshop will recognise it. It shares a certain amount of Photoshop's DNA. So let's open up an image. I'm working on two monitors, so some of these windows you won't be able to see. I'll move them across as we need to see them. So I'm just opening up an image. It's Tux, the free software Penguin. From here I'm going to bring up my layers and my tool options, and they're over here. So here's my layers and here's my tool options. Okay, so adding text is really straightforward. We're going to add text, and there'll be an additional layer above this image, so it's non-destructive. So I click on the text option. Straight away it's asking me in my tool options now, it's showing me all my text options I can use. So I can pick a font to start off with. Okay, let's just pick a font, something that's easy to read, something that's fairly bold. There we go, Bookman old style. Let's give it a font size of, this is in pixels, so we'll go, I don't know, 50 pixels, and we'll keep the colour black for now. Let's add some text. Here is some text, and that's great. We've now put some text in the image. You can see now there's a layer saying here is some text. If we select our move tool, the options now change to show us the options for the move tool. I'm just going to make sure we've got move active layer selected, and make sure we've selected here is some text layer, and now I can move this text around wherever I like. The text is okay, but really want to make a few changes to that text, so I'm going to select my text tool again, just click in the text box there. You can see I've got four number of square handles either side of my text box. This allows me to resize the text box, so we could have a lot of text or a small bit of text. So here's a tip. If you resize your text like this, so you've got a text box that's the width of the image. In our tool options we change our justification to be centered. Your text is automatically justified, and you can move the text around by just dragging this handle down. You can offset it all by moving it around. It's essentially setting it inside there, inside this box. And we can do things like we can change the font color. I'll make a selection first, I suppose. Make a selection first, and we can change the color of the font. And we can probably also change the size, and we can still move this around. And when we're happy with the way our text is laid out, we can save this image as an XCF file, and that's a native Gimp file. And next time we load it up, these layers will be preserved, which means you can then grab your text, make a selection, and change the contents of the text It's kind of handy if you're doing podcast titles or a standardized title. Okay, now we're in Photoshop. This is Photoshop Elements. It's a cut down version of Photoshop. I'm not sure if it's free or not. It just happens to be on this machine. Same picture. If you look, the layout's similar but not quite. We've still got layers here, and we have a text object here. So right now we can do horizontal or vertical type, but we'll stick with horizontal. And again, we just click on the image and we just type here is some text. And again, I'm just going to hit the move button and move it where I want. Photoshop gives you these handles to resize it. That's one way of doing it. I don't particularly think that's a very good way of doing it. I'd rather resize the font myself, so I select the text and change it here to be 72 points. So right now this is set for points, which is a unit of measurement. 72 points make 1 inch, or you can change your preferences to have different unit setups. So where is it going to be? Types, I want it in pixels. So let's make this 100 pixels tall. Let's change the font to Bookman, and we'll change the colour to red, and we'll move that as before where I wanted to go. Again, when you're happy with this layout, you can save this time as a PDF file. Sorry, when you're happy with this, you can save it as a PSD file, which is Photoshop's native file format. It will preserve the layers, which means that you can then make changes like so. Finally, just for a laugh, this is Paint. So this is the stock painting application that ships with Windows. It's got a text function as well, but it's not very well implemented compared to the other two. So let's look at this. Let's take a look. First up, you'll notice there's no layers. There are no layers. Everything gets burnt to pixels, so it's very destructive. So let's just zoom out a little bit. We can see what we're working with now. I'm going to hit the text button. I'm going to hit my colour, because why not? Text button. I'm going to hit there. Book Antiqua, it's 100. Well, that's fine. Let's make some text. Okay, happy with that. You've got option to have it as opaque or transparent. I recommend probably have transparency on. There's tiny little handles in the corners here, which allow me to sort of resize this text box, which gives me a mechanism to, in effect, move the text. I can also crop the text. It's not multi-line though, so you sort of have to sort of cut your cloth accordingly. There's no way of actually moving it apart from moving the handles. So let's just move this text down here, and as soon as I click on anything else, there you go, it's burnt. That's burnt in text now. I can't actually get to that. I can't move it, I can't do anything with it. I can demonstrate that just by erasing through. So putting text on an image is doable in Paint, but it's a one-shot deal. You have to make sure you know what you're doing with that one. If it was me, I'd go for Gimp or Photoshop, and if I was on a budget, I'd go for Gimp. And finally on this video, I'm going to show you the same operations in Paintbrush, which is the native Mac OS X Paint application. Just load it up here. Okay, let's close that one down. First thing we'll do is load our image up. So let's open up our image. That's our image. Let's zoom out a bit. A bit more. There we go. It's like the same as before. Again, it's a similar sort of front end to both Gimp and Photoshop, using your toolbar with some icons on. In this case, the text tool is a capital T. And you've got a foreground and background colour, so I'm just going to change this colour to maraschino. Great. And we put this button, and then we'll just click on the screen to place our text. And we can, we're given a window where we can place some text. So here is some text, and you can see straight away this is effectively a preview window. The colour that I've picked is the same colour. We can change the fonts. The fonts here are sort of categorised. So make a typewriter, a bit bold, and we can here we slide the slider, we can actually increase the size. So if we're happy with that, I'm going to go switch it to Papyrus. Make a marker felt. That's quite cool. It's a bit like Comic Sans. Yeah, we'll go with that. But then we can place the text. And there you go. Yeah, so text here is not great. This is, I'm assuming, in points. So like in Paint, it's destructive. So I can't edit this text, it's now part of the image. I can demonstrate that by erasing it off. So it's not layered, and it's a little bit more tricky to actually place the text. Obviously without the same fonts installed on this machine as the other ones. But that's it. That's placing text on images in 4 different applications. Hopefully you found that interesting. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments below. And thanks for watching. What's up now?